Hey guys, this is Jasmine and welcome back to my channel. When I started thinking about PhD, I thought it's all about experiments and all that stuff. But very quickly I realized that more than that, it's about skills that nobody really teaches you. And in this video, I'm going to tell you some skills that you should know as a PhD student that are really going to help you and also keep you ahead of everybody else as well. So the earlier you start, better it is for you. So let's just move on to the video. So the first skill is presentation skills, and this is the skills people really underestimate. But I have seen so many people with such good work do not get recognized because they couldn't present it well. Hence, it is very important that whatever work you are doing, you should be able to present it really well. And in PhD, you are constantly presenting in lab meetings, in conferences, in seminars. So this skill is something you cannot negotiate with. And if we talk about how to learn this skill, the practice is the answer. So the practice is the only way you can improve your presentation skills. But another thing is that you have to observe really good speakers that you like, and you have to observe how they speak, how they talk, what is their body language. Along with that, you have to keep in mind that how they simplify the complex ideas. They explain the complex ideas in the simple language, and then you should pick up those elements and put that in your presentation style in your own way, and that is something you can do to improve further. Again, you can record yourself when you are speaking so that you can also observe what you do and what are the shortcomings, or you can improve that shortcomings. Along with that, recording yourself and speaking will also improve your confidence, because in presentation skills, confidence is the most important part, because if you are confident, it will automatically elevate your presentation. So that is something. Moving forward, the second skill is data analysis and statistics. This is something we all ignore in the beginning because we don't have any data in the beginning. Yeah, that's the truth. But even if you don't have any data or results out yet, you should start learning statistics and data analysis. Because when your results start coming out, you realize that this is the biggest bottleneck. Because as researchers, it's not about getting the results but understanding what your data actually mean. For you to understand that, you need to learn basic data analysis and statistics. Now, how to learn? Excel basics are really underrated, and I think you should start with Excel basics because that really clarifies you what is going on in the system. Then you can move on to GraphPad or SPSS or R, depending on what kind of research you do and what kind of data you usually have. So you should then learn all these softwares. So this is how you start. You should start with Excel basics. But the important thing here is don't just click the buttons, but understand why you are using a particular test. You should question why you are doing anything with your data and what are the results and why results are like that and what happened when data was being processed. Now moving forward to the next skill, which is really important currently, and that is AI. Now, artificial intelligence or AI, not in the sense that you need to become a programmer, but you should know how to use the AI tools to save your time in PhD. Because if you are not learning that, you are really falling behind currently. Whether it's reading papers or understanding concepts, summarizing your work or organizing your work, AI can genuinely make your research process much more efficient. At PhD level, you should know how to use the AI tools to your own benefit in your own specific research and in your own work to save your time. But at the same time, AI is not a trend anymore. It is becoming the part of the research culture. For example, government initiatives such as India AI Fellowship is coming up, and these fellowships have really high amount because government is encouraging the students to work in real AI projects, researching AI and AI applications, and such students are getting really strong opportunities and support. If you are someone who really want to go deeper into the AI skills, like from a career perspective, or want to build really strong AI skills, I have something for you. So while exploring this, I came across Simplilearn, and what I liked about them is that their programs are quite structured and designed with industry and academic collaboration. Because honestly, most courses online are either too basic or too technical, but I think these courses will suit most of the people because these are more practical and project based. Three things that I found really useful about them is that you learn by doing. through real world projects. You don't need prior experience to get started, and it's really flexible depending on your background, whether you are a student or a professional or you are switching careers. So if you are someone who seriously want to explore AI or build it as a skill for future, then this is something you can really check out. You can Google Simplilearn AI courses, or I have also added the link in the description box below, so you can check their courses. So moving forward to the next skill, and I really briefly want to add this skill in this video, that is lab skills. Troubleshooting is something you should learn in the lab, and because experiments will fail and experiments will fail a lot, and you really need to troubleshoot what is going on. And in that case, to troubleshoot, you just not need to follow the protocol but understand the protocol and each step of the protocol, why we are doing something and what is the principle behind it and what happens when we do this. So don't just follow the protocols but also understand why we are doing a particular step in the protocol, why we are using a particular concentration or amount and everything about that. So that is how you can later on troubleshoot what went wrong and what we can change in that. Moving forward to the next skill, which is most important, that is scientific thinking. Because PhD is not about experiments, it's about asking the right questions. And you can only ask the right questions if you try to develop your scientific thinking in the right direction. Now, how to develop scientific thinking? And the answer to this is by reading the good quality research papers. But don't just read passively, don't just read the result, but understand the logic behind the experiment, and that's how you will slowly develop the scientific thinking. And another layer to this is discussions. Discuss your ideas with your supervisor, with your lab mates, with your friends, and discussions really sharpens your brain and also presents some new ideas to you and questions your thinking as well, and that's how you sharpen your mind and develop the scientific thinking. Now moving forward to the next skill, which is scientific writing. Because no matter how good your work is or how well your research is, if you cannot write it well, it will not get published and you will not get recognized. So scientific writing is really important. Now, how to learn? You can learn scientific writing by reading good quality papers and observe how they structure things, how they introduce, explain and conclude. And most importantly, start writing early even if it's not perfect, because that's how you improve. So the next skill is time management and mental strength. And I don't think so I'm someone who should say anything on this topic because I'm not managing my time well. But this is something I would also like to learn and I want you guys to learn as well. But I also want to learn this because PhD is not a straight journey. Experiments get failed, results don't come, things get delayed, and that's the point where you need time management and mental strength. Just a simple routine, tracking your work and showing up on the days even if you don't feel like it. So showing up is everything. Even if your mood is something else, you don't want to do it, you're feeling down or you are feeling tired or you don't feel like doing the work, you have to show up on those days as well, and this will create the resilience and consistency and mental strength as well. Now moving forward to the next skill, which is networking and communication. A lot of opportunities in research don't come from your work, but it comes from the people you interact with. So this is a really important point, communication and networking. And trust me, you don't have to be really extroverted for that. Start small, talk in your lab, attend seminars and ask questions. Even one conversation sometimes can open a new opportunity. So if you are starting your PhD or planning to, don't just work hard, focus on building these skills early on. So that was all about the video. Thank you so much for watching the video, and if the video helped, please do subscribe. We will meet again later. Bye.